Joe. How many of you have heard me speak before? Would love to know. Oh, wow. This is amazing. That's so awesome. Okay. Joe gave me my first opportunity to be on a professional stage 4 years ago. And I met Charmaine Hammond, and Charmaine was going to be the MC for one of Joe's events. And she said, we need to get Kelly on stage. And I had just come back from burn camp, and she was supporting burn camp and the firefighters, and so it was a great fit. And I was petrified because Charmaine says, Kel, you need to sell that other business you're in, and you need to be a speaker. And I said, why? I'm just a burn survivor, so what? She goes, no, people will be inspired by your story. I said, I'm not Anthony Robbins. Right? I don't have that mega power, that mega presence, that mega everything. I'm just me. Like, I'm just a little farm girl that got burnt. Who cares? Right? Who cares? And she said, no, you need to be a speaker. So Joe and her talked, and we did an Ellen show. And that was so funny. It was just amazing. And the funny thing was, when I was speaking, I noticed that people were crying. And I'm looking on the stage, what the heck? Why are they crying? I'm the only one speaking, right? And they're crying about my story. And then I tell another story and I get them laughing. And I look on the stage again and I'm like, why are they laughing? They're laughing at my story. And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that I would have that kind of an impact on somebody, or these people. And so it was just an amazing event. And then things all just lined up, and it was like, you need to be a speaker. And so anyway, enough about me. In 2 minutes, it's all over. All that So I started with a message, but that message is not at all what the message is today. And I realized over some of the stuff that's been happening in my life didn't really start when I was 2, when I got burnt. My life really started in the last 5 years, when I decided that I was going to be more than enough.
Yeah.
I don't know how many of you can relate to that, but how many of you feel like you're not pretty enough? Okay? Or you feel like you're not smart enough? Or you feel like you're not successful enough? Huge, right? Huge for a lot of us. And I realized that 5 years ago, I was nothing. And I realized I was a mom of 3 beautiful kids. And you know how it is, they say, that's the best job in the world, right? Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's the best job in the world. Do you really feel it? Seriously, we do not get paid. We work 24 hours a day. The kids are like constantly demanding things of us, and if we say anything wrong, they remember it forever. And they hold it over your head forever. I'm just waiting until my twins get old enough to tell the real stories of how they were thinking of me, and how bad of a parent I really am, even though I'm doing my best. So I'm going to do something different today. Normally I like to be this crazy, motivational speaker, and I'm going to be raw and real today. And I've had this speech planned for at least 2 months. And for those of you who've been keeping track of me on Facebook, you know that I've had 3 speeches this week, all 3 different audiences, all 3 different speeches. And it's been a very emotional week for me. Lots of happy tears, lots of sad tears, lots of emotional tears, and I've been doubling up on the progesterone, and that's not working either. So, just to be safe, in fact, I even took some progesterone this morning. I forgot I took it last night. And Vanessa's like, I'm like, oh shoot, I did it again! What the heck? So I'm hoping there's no tears today, but anyways, it just seemed like any little thing sets me off, and I'm like, oh my god, what is it, right? Driving to Calgary, I cried 5 times, and like, oh my gosh, and people, even out here, who was it? One of the ladies said, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I feel if I have my meltdown now, I should be good on stage, So again, it's not bad. Anyway, the Kleenex in here. If you want to enter my draft, here it is, and I'll pass this around so you guys can do that. And so my speech that I had planned is now in the can, it's gone, and I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to tell stories. And I am a rebel speaker, which means you get to text me. So pull out your phones. Okay, if you have a phone. And you're going to put my cell number in there. And my cell number is 587-988.
Wait.
It's right here for those who can see. 988-8488.
587-88.
Okay, 587-988-8488.
So smart.
And the reason I do this is because a couple of years ago I got to speak to 150 teenagers. And I allowed them to text me, and I got 100 text messages in 1 hour. Last year I spoke to a school in Calgary. There were 750 teens, and I got 200 text messages. While I was speaking, my phone was vibrating, and my hand was just like, but it was cool. And it was sad. The sad part was that 5 of those questions were about suicide. The part that bothered me about it was that my phone's already buzzing. You guys are awesome. You guys are an awesome audience. I usually get mad at the audience if they don't text me and I have a hissy fit. So anyway, it says, "You rock, lady." Thank you.
Text her.
Suicide. So here's the thing. I got burned when I was 2 years old. And we lived on an acreage, and a spark came out, landed on my dress, and poof. And I spent 3 months in the hospital. Every 2 days is in the operating room, and then every 2 years until I was 21. That's the quick version of my story. And when I was 16, I remember praying to God and saying, "Dear God, please don't make me wake up in the morning. But if I have to, can I at least be scarless so I can be pretty like all the other girls? Thank you, amen." The next morning, of course, I woke up. And I looked in the mirror, and the scars were still there. I knew at that point that God would never take my scars away. I knew that I would always be the ugly girl. I was devastated, but knew that there had to be a purpose, there had to be a reason, and I still got up and still went to school. And then I remember when I was 18, and my mom and I would go to my doctor's, my plastic surgeon, and he would make me get naked, and then he would look over my body, and he would say, "Okay, this year we're going to do this." And I said, "Okay." But at 18, he said to me, "There's nothing more I can do for you. There's no more surgeries for you. There's nothing else I can do to take your scars away." They're already starting, holy cow. Oh, I got Kleenex, I'm prepared. And I looked at my mom, and I was choking back the tears, of course, because God couldn't take my scars away. The doctor couldn't take my scars away. I would never be beautiful. I don't know what that turning point was. I just knew that even though I went to the school dances, and even though no guy would ever ask me to dance, I knew that I could never give up. I knew that no matter what, quitting was not an option. And even though I knew that, you know, other women or girls could just put on makeup and they could be supermodels and they could just be gorgeous, I knew I never had that option. And when I was 18, I went through a period where I said I had to know where I lived, why I lived. Why did I live? 2 years old, 75% of the body burnt, 1968. Yeah, okay, if you want to do the math like you did with, Joe, I've been burnt for 46 years. So why? Why would a 2-year-old survive that? Why would a 2-year-old make the conscious decision to live? I know that if my 2-year-old got burnt, 75% of her body, I don't know if I'd want her to live. I wouldn't want her to have to go through all that pain, all that staring, all that teasing, all that rejection, all of that. But I'll tell you what, I'm so glad I did.